Hello everyone, it's Kelly here from spiritualawakeningsigns.com, and I help people like you who are moving through the spiritual awakening process to reduce their symptoms and make the whole process much easier. And we're getting into another video again today about some of the things that happen during spiritual awakening that can make it really difficult. So we're getting into today how to attract positive experiences into your life and awakening so that you can ditch the negativity. Now, this is something that I see coming up a lot in awakening, and there are reasons why, so we're going to go into it and explain it all so that you can start to make it better. But it's really common that people begin their spiritual awakening and all of a sudden life breaks down, all these awful things start to happen, or you just find that there's lots of drama and conflict and difficulty everywhere you go, obstacles no matter what you try. And it can really feel confusing. It can feel like the whole world and the universe is conspiring against you. Well, the good news is that that's not exactly what's happening. There is a reason for that in awakening, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. So what I really want to cover is, if you're awakening right now or has been at any point full of drama, full of conflict, full of difficulty and obstacles, let us know below. Do let us know if that's something that you resonate with and something that you've experienced. It's like all of a sudden there's a surge of more problems than before. You know, all of a sudden things that you try to do, there are technical issues, there are time issues, there are things that get in the way that stop you from doing it. And I find that with loads of things, particularly when it was leading me towards my spiritual career that I'm doing right now. You know, when I had events to go to, I'd get sick, or I'd have the tyre burst in my car, or something would happen that would mean, you know, I couldn't go, or I wouldn't have any money, or all these things start to come up and get in the way of all the things that you're trying to do to get where you're going. And it's not that the universe is against you. There's a reason why this comes up, and we're going to talk about it. But what I do want to say is that this stuff comes up because spiritual awakening is all about purging the soul. We are purging the soul of all the stuff, all the things that we have picked up over all of our lifetimes. So you can imagine, think how much stuff and issues one person has in a lifetime, and we get therapists to work on it anyway. But can you imagine how much stuff there is if you think about lifetime after lifetime, the lifespan that you've had, the timeline that you've experienced as a soul, living all these different lifetimes and gaining all this learning and experience. Well, the problem with that is that you end up with a lot of baggage. And of course, your baggage comes up to be healed and cleared as part of the awakening process so that you can be freed of all the limitations, so that you can get rid of all the negativity that's holding you back, and so that you can step into who you truly are with all your gifts and spiritual abilities in place, and you can live a much happier, more joyful and ascended life experience. That's what it's all about. Now, one of the biggest challenges that I see happening is that awakening starts and all of a sudden everything starts to crumble, everything starts to become really difficult, and sometimes even the simplest thing, like going to get petrol for your car, and the person at the checkout's really off with you, or people say things that are rude, or people kind of press boundaries, and it's like, what is going on? Like, have I slipped into the twilight zone? Well, yeah, a little bit. It does tend to happen that way, and it's really frustrating. But what tends to happen is the law of attraction starts to seem to work negatively during spiritual awakening. All of a sudden, there's this kind of magnetic response that activates within your soul, drawing towards you all the stuff that's going to help you work through these wounds and these issues of the soul. So it kind of causes a bit of a problem, because as you become a magnet for all the stuff you need to heal, all it's going to draw towards you is problems. All it's going to draw towards you is conflict, and it's going to bring things up that are confusing, even communication issues. Nothing comes out right. Everyone misunderstands you. Nothing really works the way that it did before. It's really strange. So the law of attraction starts to work negatively, and what happens is you start to draw towards you experiences in your life that are going to help you work through the stuff that the soul needs to clear. So you're healing in the real world rather than being able to heal it in another sense. You're healing it in real time. It's happening. The energy is weaving its way through all your interactions with friends and family and work colleagues and situations in your life, and all of a sudden things get really difficult. Now, what I can tell you is that the biggest cause, surprisingly, of all the conflict and the drama and the difficulty in your life in awakening, when awakening hits, is actually genetic. That's the weirdest thing about it, but it's mostly genetic stuff, and people never work on this. But what really tends to happen is you get all these genetic issues coming up because genetic information gets passed down a bit like a map of the world, okay? So if you think of your ancestors, any experience they had that was going to be important, that was valuable, or of course that was traumatic, that they learned from, they're going to send down that information. So it becomes like a little map, and each ancestor adds their little bit in, and it gets passed down and passed down. And it's really ideally for wisdom. It's energetically to prepare you so that you understand the map of the world through the eyes of your ancestors, and so that you can survive, so that you know what's going on and how to maneuver around it. The problem with that is that a lot of our ancestors are traumatized. So it's not just the good wisdom that gets put in there, it's also the faulty belief systems that they've picked up on about things that happened in their lives and assumptions that they've come to about life. And it tends to get passed down, and it causes problems, and then before we know it, we're actually living all this stuff that isn't even ours. Most of the stuff that's coming up for you in awakening, if it's playing out in your real life, it's probably not yours. It's most likely genetics. It's most likely stuff to do with your ancestors, and that's why you tend to go through these big earth-shattering experiences in awakening. Something happens that just breaks your world apart, whether it's a relationship, or you lose your job, or your finances go bust, or something happens that it's just like, oh my god, I don't know how to handle this. And quite often what you'll find is you might be able to find a family member that's a generation or two above you that the same thing happened to them. It's genetic stuff playing out, or it might be further back in your timeline and you don't even know about it, but it does happen, and it does make things really difficult, because that map of the world containing all that trauma and all the pain that they experienced and the kind of things that they're trying to put in place to protect you from them. Because sometimes it's about character traits, sometimes it's about something negative developing in a character trait that's been there to protect them. So if you saw our post the other day, and in our video as well, the genetic wound healing masterclass, you can get that if you check out our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. We had, I was telling a case story about Kate, who had this experience of narcissism just kept showing up in her life. So it was very much a part of her upbringing. She had a lot of narcissism in her family and had been hurt really deeply emotionally by a lot of the narcissism that was in life. And then it started to play out in real life, and it was happening with her friends, it was happening at work. No matter, she moved jobs 3 times in the time that we were doing sessions. It was just like, oh my god, another narcissistic boss, more manipulative co-workers, why is that happening? And it was genetic stuff, and we were able to look through her genetics and actually source the person where that started, where this narcissism trait had developed. And it was all about low self-esteem. It was all about being unable to feel the wounds that were inside, being unable to bear even looking at that. And it had created this narcissistic trait that had become such a problem in the family. So it's incredible. It's absolutely fascinating, the things that you can find and the wounds that you can heal to keep freeing yourself. This is about your ascension. You need to keep freeing yourself of all the limitations, and genetics are a huge limiter, huge. But there's lots of things you can do to heal that, to clear that, to change it. You absolutely can change it. You'll see big changes when you change that as well. Now, what I do want to let you know is we actually have an excellent free spiritual resource that you can use to help you ditch the negativity, calm your life in awakening, and of course attract more positivity into your life too. It's our genetic wound healing masterclass, how to heal your genetic wounds, free your spirit from family issues, and ease your life in awakening. It's a big deal, and we've had loads of great reviews about it. It's totally free, and you can get it at the link below and get started on all that information. It's not something that's very often shared in awakening, I can guarantee you of that. Get started, calm things down, and make it easier for yourself to move through your awakening without all that extra drama going on. We can definitely show you how to do that. But yes, absolutely, when you get to a point where you start clearing this stuff, that's when life changes. That's when you start to shift into higher vibrations. So what you really want to be doing is clearing all that out, and it's covered in the masterclass. We share everything that you need to do with our special 3-step system. But really what you want to do is clear that stuff out. When you clear it out, it will dissipate from your life, and things will become a lot more harmonious. Things will become easier. And that's something that I noticed for me. There were things that needed to be worked through, and when you don't work through them, the universe will not let you hide. And I tried. I'm a huge introvert, and I really tried hiding from it, hiding from the world, hoping that it would go away, hoping that you know, that part of awakening would just kind of blow over, and I'd escape the difficulty of it. But it doesn't. The universe waits until that one little moment that you step out the door, or it makes somebody call you and bring the issues right to you, or, you know, it shows up in TV shows and movies and things that you hear and dreams that you have, and you just can't escape it, and the universe won't let you. And it is actually a loving act. It's trying to free you, and it has to really give you a shove to get you free. But you can get free from that. So yes, absolutely, I can see someone saying, I need that class. Get on it now, use it, learn these techniques so that you can start moving through this stuff, and it really will make your awakening so much calmer. It's such a difference. And you'll hear Kate's story as well, how we managed to really clear that narcissism out of her life, and it really changed things in a big way for her. So check it out at the link below, and of course you can click to be notified every time that we go live, and subscribe if you've got the option as well. We would love to share more videos with you, and we will be over the next while, probably forever, but for the next while. I hope that you're having a good day, guys. Get on that genetic wound healing and free yourself from all these limitations. Move forward in your awakening and feel better, because awakening is supposed to be a really special time. So check out that masterclass, and I'll see you guys again soon.